My name is Matt Fryer, and my teammates are Garrett Frisk, John Jacobson, Nick Zink, and Grant Warren. The industry we chose to evaluate for this project is the online banking industry. So, introduction and industry description to start. Online banking allows customers to satisfy their banking needs through online methods rather than going to a physical bank. So, this can be done either through a bank's mobile app or their online banking website. And then online banks offer a wide range of services. It's very comparable to what a regular brick and mortar bank would offer, maybe with just a few differences, but very similar. And then some of those services that are offered include the ability to open accounts. You can make mobile deposits, make transfers, apply for loans with loan applications, and there are several other services as well. And then firms across the industry offer similar services, but the small local competitors may lack some of the main services that larger competitors offer. So, for example, like a small town like State Bank with, I don't know, only a handful of customers will probably offer less services than a larger competitor like Gate City would.
Industry developments in the online banking industry include political, economic, social, and technological trends. I'm going to start off with the political. The main trend is Regulation E. What Regulation E is, the new framework that regards digital services and electronic transactions, really anything conducted online, and how banks need to regulate and use guidelines for those. The economic trends, this includes more jobs are being created in online banking with the rise of the industry. Because of the rise in online banking, there's less retail banking needed, less physical locations, less people going into real locations for a bank. A lot more stuff is over the phone or just online. So this creates less jobs in retail banking as well. Another trend for the economic segment is there is a larger location neutral market for online banking because you no longer need to have a physical location of the bank that you bank with near you because everything is conducted online now. Social trends, main social trend is the younger demographic. This tech savvy generation is increasing in online banking because online banking is more available. This younger demographic likes to have access to their information online. They're not as willing to go inside to a bank, etc. Technological trend, there are more security features now in banking. Some of these are, there must be firewalls to protect transaction and customer information. And all information such as PINs, card numbers, account numbers, customer information, all of that must be secured through encryptions. So this is leading to people having more trust in online banking and an increase also of what they have access to. And so you see that the market for online banking is becoming more online, obviously, and it's switching over from physical retail banking locations to more online services.
Okay, so regarding the competition for online banking here, it is very high because most banks share a lot of the same services. So oftentimes when a new service comes to online banking, a lot of different banks or institutions will jump on it right away and have very similar, if not identical services as the next bank. And then what the five forces reveal about attractiveness here, it does show that online banking industry is very attractive. And then for its weakest force, we chose the disadvantage that came from the know-how and learning curves. A lot of the different services require a decent knowledge with technology, and a lot of people struggle with that occasionally. And the strongest would be the intensity of rivalry among competing firms. Like I said, they're all jumping on different new services and everything like that. And then the force that greatly affects the attractiveness for the industry would be the low threat of new entrants. Startup costs for banks are very high, and it's very difficult to get into that industry and provide a good online banking service. And there are minimal substitutes for online banking services as well. Competitive weapons that rivals use often are low interest rates, accessibility of banking apps, websites, and customer service. When banks are similar in size and similar market share, there are small differences that set them apart. Having the best customer service that they can, or having just a tiny bit lower interest rate in the market. So it's very nitpick for what's different there. And then the pace of the rivalry, it is becoming more intense because the industry is already very saturated. Changes in the industry that make it more or less attractive profitability wise. Um, none of the changes in the industry affect the attractiveness of profitability because, like I said, most banks are using similar services, and if a new service comes out, oftentimes they jump on it very quickly.
For the strategic group map, we chose 5 firms, which include JP Morgan with 2.87 trillion in assets, Citizens Financial Group with 179 billion in assets and 1,008 locations, Bell Bank with 48 billion in assets and 475 locations, Gate City Bank with 2.8 billion in assets and 43 locations, and lastly, Kindred State Bank with 31.1 million in assets and only 1 location. JP Morgan and Citizens Financial Group are directly competing with each other. These two have a comparable number of branches as well as capital. The other major competitors in our group are Citizens Financial Group and Bell Bank. With Bell having a comparable number of branches and similar capital to Citizens Financial Group, they directly compete for business with one another. The strategic group that JP Morgan and Citizens Financial Group are in seem to have a larger profit pool than other banks in our strategic group map. These two institutions have more total assets than many other banks and are accessible to more people. One environmental change that would affect each strategic group differently would be if the government implemented a security regulation that set a new standard for banks to follow. The larger banks would be able to adhere to these standards much easier than the smaller banks. Next is the industry player highlight. We rated 2 firms based on the existing knowledge we had. We have all had experiences with these banks and were able to make insights about their operations. Here are some critical factors. For Gate City, the accessibility, we rated an 8. It could have been a 9 if we were able to deposit funds into their ATM machines. Next, their safety and security, we scored a 9 because their security compliance has been up to par during their tenure. For extensive services, we scored an 8 because there are many categories of financing available at this bank. Next is customer service, which we scored a 9. Gate City Bank goes above and beyond to help their customers. We also have the brand image, which we scored a 10 because they do many charities and give back to the communities immensely. The marketing side, we scored a 9 because it is well known in the local communities. Lastly, for Gate City, the user friendliness was rated at about a 7 because the app runs into technical issues occasionally, for a total score of 8.55. For Bell Bank, first, again, we have accessibility. We scored a 9 because there are more locations than Gate City Bank, and it also reaches a national market. For safety and security, we scored a 9 because it has high quality security software to protect from major breaches. Next is its extensive services, which we scored an 8. It offers many banking services, same as Gate City. For their customer service, we gave it a 9. Bell Bank has earned a reputation in its markets of being a customer-oriented bank. Their brand image does well, and we scored it at an 8 because their brand image revolves around their customer service. For marketing, we gave them an 8 because it markets well throughout its environment, but could also use more channels of marketing. Lastly is user friendliness, which we gave a low score of 5 because the mobile banking app has its issues that customers have complained about. In all, Gate City would be the bank to do your business with. For some of the industry player highlights, Some strengths Gate City Bank has, they're very active in the community and well-known in local areas. A weakness is few locations, and the mobile app experiences a lot of issues. For Bell Bank, their strengths are handles customer relations well and also has many locations throughout North Dakota and Minnesota. Their weaknesses include the mobile and online banking apps experience a lot of technical issues. Similarly, Gate City and Bell Bank are both well known in the southeast area of North Dakota. They're also similar in the sense that they are not super well known around the United States. Their mobile banking is not up to par with bigger firms in the industry. Gate City Bank is very likely to survive in banking industry. Gate City Bank does an excellent job of being involved in the community. From a marketing perspective, Gate City has a large reach within the communities it is involved in. Gate City Bank also gives back to the communities it does business with, which gives it a high quality brand image. Two recommendations we have for Gate City Bank would be to increase its friendliness of its app and services, as well as entering in a new market to increase accessibility.
Our financial analysis for Gate City Bank shows that Gate City Bank is built to grow in its current market. Right now, Gate City Bank has about a 6% market share in North Dakota, which is 4th overall in the state. So they're doing pretty good, but they still have room to improve. Gate City is also prepared for the worst if an economic downturn were to occur. They have put aside $16 million in loan loss provision in case people start to default on their loans. Gate City Bank is not very liquid, though. They have about $465 million in short-term assets they could liquidate, but that's only about 20% of their total liabilities of $2.4 billion. These numbers are around what we expected Gate City to have. We have their asset ratio, return of assets, and return on equity, as well as their equity to assets ratios right there for you to look at. The return on assets is a little low, but they are just trying to grow in their current market. So as the more they grow, the tougher it's going to get. So that's actually pretty high for where they're at. But Gate City is very secure in its current market, and it's still growing. And it's in very good position if there were to be an economic downturn. So Gate City Bank to us is in good shape financially.
All right, our recommendations and our conclusions. So what we recommend is that first, the bank is easy to access, either in person with the building or the app/website being user friendly. We recommend that security is well kept and extensive. You want to make sure that the site and app are secure and protected, and you want extensive password protection followed by good email backup. And we also recommend that you create and maintain a good community presence, things like charities, fundraising, overall good deeds that tend to look good in the public. Our takeaways are online banking is a permanent part of the banking world. It requires a good balance between being safe and yet being easy to access, and that the app and/or website needs to be easy to navigate, otherwise people won't use it, thus having less business.